All right. All right. So here we are in our Brave Leader Deep Dive, and we are talking about Empathy 2. And I thought this was like really deep too. Carrie mentioned that earlier before we started the recording, and it was really cool. What I found interesting was that with the questions, it was very much posed towards how we feel when we are on the receiving end of what is supposed to be empathy versus when we're trying to give it until the end. Like, I thought that was interesting because it makes you put in perspective, like, that you've got to really put yourself in the other person's shoes. So I liked that. So I don't know, and Carrie, I mean, she might be gone. Do you have, was there a guide for facilitating?
There is. It's in the Brave Leaders section under resources, and it's actually the very first document.
Okay.
It says like group something guide.
Okay. All right. Well, if you'll bear with me for a second, I'll try to pull that up. But while I'm doing that, if anybody had any aha moments in it, I would love to hear those first, so that we just keep this conversation going. So was there anyone?
I have a aha empathetic thing that happened leaving from conference. Like, I was so emotional at conference. I just came off of a women's retreat, so I was very just raw and just very emotional anyways, and so empathetic to everything that was going on around me. But as I was leaving conference Sunday morning from Phoenix, I walked over to, there was a table of service men there, and there was one lady, and it was so amazing. I just walked over to say, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for serving our country. And I get teary just even saying it, but I was a blubbering mess before I could even finish saying, I want to thank you. And every single one at that table were just in tears saying, oh my gosh, thank you so much for that. But it was like a supernatural empathy. Like, I don't know what was tugging on me or what, but I felt like I was in their shoes of not being appreciated or something. It was just a really different like spin of what just pulled on my heart so strong, like, I don't know. I'd like to get more in tune with what was really going on with that, but it was very, I felt empathetic, like, what, oh my gosh, what is this?
Yeah.
It was,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was, I walked away going, okay, that was a little odd, but it felt good. It felt good that I could be that vulnerable with people that I didn't even know.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Very good. I love that. That's a great story. Thanks for sharing that, Cindy. So Carrie, where did you say it is now?
So there's like there's the actual course, but then like if you go and press like the upper left button or whatever, there is avoiding his hyperchange. There is a thing that says resources. It's the same place where the document was for us to fill out.
All right, so I go to the course dashboard.
Yeah, here, let me pull it up real quick.
And then, because I actually just copied I didn't fill out that document. I copied and pasted what was in the video, and I just used that. So I didn't go to that section. So I am.
Just a moment. I can even share my screen once my computer decides to. Oh, that's it. My internet's being.
Well, while you do that, was there anyone else that had an aha moment through this or through any other experiences that have happened that they needed to be empathetic?
Where'd Kara go?
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. I know that. Oh, here, resources. I got it now, Carrie. Okay. Group session guide. Got it. Okay. Okay. So, Group conversation. So there's great power in groups gathering to share insights while taking the courage deep dives. Group discussion helps individuals put courage into practice and supports learners as they embed key concepts from the lessons. So here's our conversation questions and recommendations for sharing the content. So everyone,
I found it.
yes, I did. Yeah. So everyone went through the videos, and just kind of to start off with the questions. The first one is keeping in mind the 6 common barriers to empathy shared in the video. Think of a colleague at work with whom you would like to show more empathy. And how would you change the way you engage with this individual? Note that participants do not need to share specific names of colleagues. Okay, I'm just reading this because I hadn't had time to do it before I was unprepared. But you're encouraged to discuss the strategies that you would practice to be more effective when practicing empathy. So for any situation, I guess, I know that I know, Carrie, you stay home with your kids, and I know, Cindy, you are a nanny, and so you're dealing with children. But do you have any, and then I don't know where Kara, is she back yet?
So in this, I think of like upline, sidelines, downline.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
These colleagues want to send me over the edge sometimes.
Yeah. Your business partners. They're your business partners.
They are my business partners. That's right. I have been calling them that since you rephrased them for me. I've been working on not apologizing so much. I really have. So
Good.
Thank you for the encouragement last time.
Sure, no problem. So that's a great example of upline, sideline, downline. So can you give an example?
I can share. Let me grab my sheet. Sorry. I'm going to wash my hands. Oh, sorry, Jennifer. So so I have someone in particular, actually. So I had watched the video last night, and I had not yet filled out the form. And I have someone on my team who is a very fast reactor. I need to get my headphones so they're not so loud. Anyway, so she's a fast reactor. And so yesterday she calls me and she's like all upset about Tower Gardens making a lot of assumptions that someone is trying to take her business. This morning, oh shoot, I don't have my headphones. There we go. This morning, same thing happens. Her boss contacts her. She just got Tower Gardens in school. It doesn't really matter, the whole situation. The point is, there we go, that she constantly assumes the absolute worst. She always takes it personal. And she has some qualities that remind me of my mom. And of course, there's like drama there. So I noticed, as I'm filling out the thing, I was thinking that I react. I either minimize her or I will not be, I'll go to the sympathy side. Hey, Irene. So that is something for me where I'm like, you know what? I am trying to help her work through her stuff when I can, which is actually very taxing for me on the days where I don't feel like I'm at 100%. So sorry. I've been on the phone too much today.
Okay?
Oh, they're just having a good old time. They're hauling each other around. Apparently they loaded up my house plants and have them in a wagon and are going around my living room.
That's awesome. I love it.
Happily. So that's a situation for me where I in going through this process, I realized, today, I actually even said to her, hey, I think before you go down this path of experiencing this emotion, you don't even know what the conversation was or if it was negative. And it actually turned out the gal pretty much validated what she's been telling her boss. It was actually a very positive thing. So at the end of it, she said, man, you're awesome. You're right. But at the beginning, she was like, I'm going to quit sharing in this area because there are too many, we have a lot of reps in this area. And I just am like, oh my goodness. She quits on me once a month. And I just get to a point where I just shut down. And I really have to figure out a more empathic response that also does not burden me, in a way where I'm not taking on too much stuff, if that's possible. That's the one thing is I thought through a lot of these, and I agree with what you said, Julie, where coming at it from the perspective of this is how I feel and how I behave makes you empathetic to others, empathetic, however you say that, to others. But then I'm like, okay, so what are we supposed to do? You know, like at some point there are just levels that you cannot connect with. Like you've never been in those shoes, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So that's my struggle.
Well, and I think too, though, there is a line there for you to say, you know, I might have to have a brave conversation with her that says, you know, I don't want to do this drama. I want to help you. I want to be supportive of you, but I need for you to come to me when you have a real problem and I can help you solve it, you know, and if you can work through some of those emotions before you come to me, then that might help us be more productive.
I love your suggestions. You're really good at this.
Well, I spent a lot of time in corporate and I had to coach employees and stuff. So it, you know, I'm not perfect at it, but I mean, I'm trying. I think it's one of my gifts, I think. But I really think that might be an area to have a brave conversation. So, I mean, you're empathetic. It sounds like you've been empathetic, but now it's kind of like, yeah, if she's quitting on you once a month and she's drama and all that, you don't need that.
Agreed. Yeah, and she actually just got into POB, and she's quit so much that I just like hands off. She went to Phoenix, got inspired. She really has matured quite a bit, so I'm hopeful. But the more direct I am with her, you're okay. It has helped, and I do need to just have like a conversation like that. So thank you.
Oh, sure. Have you celebrated her for getting back in POB?
Well, it's actually her first time being in POB, and we made a big deal about it. So we celebrated it with the team on Voxer, on Facebook, and then I actually just this week, our husbands work together, and he has a butter knife if anyone's terrified. Oh, yeah. Anyway. I got her. So my phrase is the best is yet to come. So I have a gal that makes this jewelry that's out of wax. Like they make it out of, my goodness. It's a wax. Anyway, it's wax molding, and then it's they pour bronze into it. And so I got her that saying on a ring and sent it with a little card and stuff. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yes, actually, I just got an email just right now that says my 4th sales coordinator is promotable, and she's already in POB. So I just need thanks. I need some working lines. Like they need to add some peeps, and we grew 4,000 points from March to April.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Wow. That's
so I'm
incredible.
very hopeful that we're going to be there in time for Q School.
Awesome. In time for Q School? What?
That's end of May, I think you have to make it.
Yeah, so we have to have structure in place, which I have, but I don't have working lines in place. So hopefully we have to have everything done by June, like end of June. But May is where it has to be.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
That's
thank
awesome.
you.
Very
Appreciate it.
So awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, good. All right, so who else would like to share? So we are sharing a situation with Applied Sideline, or if you have another job, a JOB, that you want to share about a situation where you might need to display more empathy.
Well, I had an incident this week I can share with you. I'm a charge nurse at work I'm a nurse in the intensive care, and the respiratory therapists, 3 of them, took it upon themselves to kind of have a mutiny on Sunday and go against the doctor's orders and make some pretty serious changes in the baby's ventilators. And so I had to, first of all, notify my manager, and then really uncomfortable things, right? Because these are my coworkers that are doing this, and I have to go report. I have to notify my manager on a Sunday. She notified their manager. Their manager contacted them. They came and talked to, I told them right up front, look, I'm contacting my manager. But then I had to one of them. And although, the doctor and my manager and even myself, we were angry at what they had done. I still had to listen to their stories, why they felt they were doing what was best for the baby, really put myself in their shoes, which I had a hard time doing because they'd gone against doctor's orders. And so just a lot of managers calling in and having to get the story from me, and me trying to really stick to the facts and not get emotional and not play into it, because there were a lot of emotions flying and accusations with the nurses and the therapist and name calling and stuff, and me just trying to stick to the facts. And I kept thinking a lot about this, a lot about Brave Leaders. Just state the facts as whatever it was I witnessed, that's all. Don't get emotional and caught up in all this drama. And then the next day, meetings with the director, the medical director of the department, and other people as well. And I felt like I did okay. I mean, I'm glad, because in the past, I probably would have been caught up in the drama, and it just would have been ugly. So that was something that I had to deal with this week. And I really attribute me getting through it to this program and to you guys talking about this stuff.
Wow,
Well, that's awesome, Irene. Good for you. So did you have to interact with them, like, also one-on-one about the situation?
Right. So then I had to pull each one aside, because they each have their own story to tell. He said, she said, kind of thing. So I had to pull each one aside and talk to them privately, and then bring them together and try to get everyone on the same page. Even if we disagree with each other, we're not getting along, we still need to communicate effectively today, work professionally with each other all day, and they're all still pointing fingers. And I just stood my ground and kept sticking to that. And we got through the day, fortunately, because I was afraid some people were going to walk out. So, yeah, just me having to listen to people that were being insubordinate to the physicians, but trying to, see their side, or just really just listen instead of jumping in and saying, you shouldn't have done that. I had to just really listen where they're coming from. And
yeah, wow.
It was, yeah.
That had to be stressful.
Yeah, it was. And then all the meetings that followed with all the directors who then wanted to hear from me what happened.
Right.
And me just trying to stay a straight line. This is what I witnessed. This was my perception. This is, what I saw. I didn't see other things. I just heard. So.
Yep. Stick to the facts. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. Who would like to share next?
I can.
Okay.
So I just thought of this one. So basically, I work with a girl who's been going through a lot of fertility issues for, I guess it's been going on for about 1.5 years now. And I myself have 2 kids and haven't experienced that. So I've just really had to just sit back and just be a shoulder to cry on, listen, and in listening to all the deep dive stuff, it seems like I may have been doing some things wrong and can improve on, how I help her go through this situation. So just, I think I can go into it with more, being able to help her feel a little better, and hopefully she'll, have one of her own one of these days.
Yeah. Is she taking Juice Plus?
She is, it's funny, she's the one that actually introduced me to my upline, Megan Martin, because they were in the same class in high school, and they were cheerleaders together. And she had tried Juice Plus in the past, and she's like allergic to everything in the world, I swear. And so, like, she'll try something and her skin will break out, or she just has a lot of stuff going on. And so she is convinced that she's allergic to Juice Plus. And so she actually, within the past couple of months, she has said to me, she's like, all this stuff that you always talk about, I feel like you're so knowledgeable. And she's like, if this doesn't work this next round, she goes, I might think about talking to you about Juice Plus again. So I'm hopeful, because I feel like there's a lot of, she could totally benefit from it so much. And even, I am more than willing to help her. Hey, guys. to, you know, kind of help her, I don't know, find other people who've had the same problem. You know, like I've come to you, Cindy, with the cancer stuff, and you, Julie, and I just feel like there's so many people in our community that could be so helpful and just bring a lot of hope to them. So I'm waiting for the right opportunity for her to approach.
Yeah, sure. Well, don't you love? Oh, go ahead, Carrie.
Oh, you're good. I was just going to say, I have a couple stories of people who are severely allergic to like everything on the face of the planet that I can send you.
Okay.
One is someone I don't know, a gal that had hives and severe allergies, couldn't eat anything that had ever been in the ground. So that's a problem. And then there's another gal on my team who is like seriously allergic to apples and almonds and all kinds of stuff. And even though there's Apple and Juice Plus, it hasn't bothered her. And after 4 months, she, with an EpiPen nearby, was able to eat an entire apple without reaction.
Wow.
So,
Isn't that crazy? I have I love the stories like that. My upline, actually, who introduced me to Juice Plus, her daughter had a birch allergy. So anything with a pit or a seed, she could not eat. She could successfully take Juice Plus, and now she can eat all of those things that have pits or seeds in them.
Wow.
Yep. I know. Now it's not the same for everybody though. I mean, I have a customer who she was taking Juice Plus and all of a sudden started breaking out in all these rashes and everything, and she didn't know she was allergic to anything. And then she went to be allergy tested, and they, you know, got her diagnosed with all these different things. And she stopped taking Juice Plus because of that. Now, I don't know. Could she have worked through it? Possibly. I don't know. But she wasn't
And
willing
it wasn't like a severe reaction, but, you know, like any kind of skincare item and stuff like that. And she just has super sensitive skin. And so she broke out like around her mouth, kind of. But she had no idea that was the only thing that she had done differently. So she's like, I have no idea, but I'm allergic to it. So I don't even know like if there was something specific in it, or if it was even Juice Plus, you know, like it could have been something else. Right.
Yep. And I had a customer like that too. I don't want to get off track, but I had another customer that was that way. She thought she was allergic to the Juice Plus, and it turns out that she had used a new cream or something when she was shaving her legs, and she got all of these bumps and everything, but she thought it was Juice Plus. And then she went to the doctor, and he's like, no, you have I can't remember what it was, but it was something that had just to do with her skin. It didn't have anything to do with Juice Plus.
Some type of dermatitis kind of.
Yeah. So anyway. All right. So I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So I want to make sure we have time to get through all of this. So let me get back to the okay. So does anybody else have anything that they want to share about how they would change how they deal with a colleague where they might need to show more empathy? Anybody that hasn't shared yet? Okay.
As you guys are sharing, I'm thinking about some team that I could probably tweak it a little bit. I think I feel more like Carrie was saying, like they just wear you down so much that you're so over empathetic that it's like you pull back 100%. So I think I need to find a good neutral on a few team players.
Yeah. Well, and you know, I have found like there's a couple people, one's a sideline, actually they're both sidelines. One's directly within my NMD team, and one's a sideline that is a team, somebody that I have to see regularly. And they for me personally, they have challenging personalities. And I'm not the only one that thinks that, but I don't draw drama around it. They're just not people that I want to interact with regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually have decided to try to embrace them a little bit more to work through that. And one of the things was this one person is she's very dramatic in terms of she needs to have a lot of self-recognition. And so when things are bad for her, she's like quiet as a church mouse. But when things are good for her, she has to like be over communicative and shouting it out at the rooftops and all of this. So yesterday, and I went through the lesson today, but I'm obviously learning a little bit. So yesterday, she had posted something on a Facebook page that was just like, oh, I'm doing all these wonderful things and all this is happening. And I've had to check myself, because I'm like, I want to make sure that I'm not acting out of jealousy or envy, that I am actually, it's annoying me. And it's awful. I mean, to say that, but I'm just like, I'm being real. It annoys me. So yesterday, though, I reached out to her genuinely, and I just said, you know what, I am just like so excited for you, what you've got going on in your business. You've obviously turned a corner, because she's had some struggles. You've obviously turned a corner. Congratulations. Like, really, genuinely, I feel I'm happy for her. And so I had to like practice a little bit of empathy there, because that's a need that she has. She needs to be recognized. And so it's better for me to feed that need than to be like, oh my gosh, she's so annoying. Right. So yeah. Wasn't exactly a lesson along this, or an example along this lesson, but just, trying to appreciate people for what their needs are.
Where they are. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So the next thing, moving on here, is, okay. So Brene explains that we're human, imperfect, and vulnerable, and that's why we have to commit to practicing empathy, screwing it up, and circling back. And I loved that she did that. Like, she talked at the end, this is a skill. It's not just, it doesn't make or break you of being a nice person. It's a skill that you learn. And so you're not going to be perfect at it. And so, and I love that she said, you can go back and say, when you were explaining that to me yesterday, I don't think I was very empathetic. And so it's okay to, like, say you screwed up. So her question is how will your group support each other when practicing empathy, screwing it up, and circling back? So I would love, like, I know it's hard with everyone's schedules, and I know that, like, we are talking more about, like, just texting, like, when we want to do schedules or whatever. I think it would be helpful, though, if we could give each other an opportunity to do examples, and maybe we do it. Does everyone have an accountability partner here that's still active within the group?
Oh, within the group. Well, I'm supposed to be with Irene, but I haven't been with Irene. Sorry, Irene.
Okay. And then Carrie, aren't you with?
I'm with Nyla.
Nyla. Okay.
So yeah, she hasn't. I'll check in with her actually about today. She is also doing Kinsey boot camp with me.
Okay.
As well. So.
And then Kara, do you have an accountability partner?
I do, but it's Jennifer, and I don't know how much she's
okay.
interested in continuing. But I haven't heard her much in Voxer, so.
Okay.
But
well,
yeah.
I guess the question is how do you all want to do this? Because I mean, I kind of feel like maybe we should create a separate Voxer group for the people that are active. I mean, I guess the people who aren't active can just remove themselves. I don't know. Maybe we don't need a separate Voxer group, but I think it would be kind of interesting. We don't have to do it like, we don't have to make up scenarios, but we could, like, when we run into a scenario and we could share it with the group, if you guys are open to doing that. I mean, I don't think they're going to come up that frequently, but I think it would be kind of neat to be able to do that. So
I think I may have said Jennifer. It's Amanda that I'm with. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I was like, Jennifer's my accountability partner, and I was like, oh, she's cheating on me.
No, it's Amanda. I don't know why I said that. I could see her face, but
it's all good.
That was funny.
So what do you guys think? Would you rather do it with your accountability partner, or would you rather do it within the group?
I think as a group and using that Voxer chat would be fine. If there's something where we need to get the attention of everyone, we can still put a text in and say, emoji thing,
Right.
hey, this is about whatever. And then that way people who are sporadic can choose what they listen to and what they don't. You can always mark all heard, and get past it.
Yeah.
Which frankly, if it fills up, some of us, myself at least, might have to do that sometimes. I don't know, it just depends on how busy it gets. But I would love to have it in there, and maybe people will re-engage if this is a busy season for them.
Yeah. Well, and I love the suggestion, and I'd love for us to just do this as a general rule, if you will, or a guideline, is that when you leave a voice message, that put above or below, pointing to it, what it's in reference to. Like it's in reference to, the next call, or it's an empathy situation. Would love your feedback. Things like that.
Got it.
What do you guys
That's
think
a good
about
idea.
that?
Yes.
Okay, so that was a great suggestion, Carrie, because I think that will help people, because in that way they can be like, oh, this is one I really need to listen to, or this is one I can listen to, later, or not listen to at all.
Right.
So awesome. Okay. Yay. All right. So the next thing is, this is a round robin share. And so what are 2 types of empathetic misses that are most likely to leave you feeling like the other person doesn't understand what you are going through? And then what are 2 empathetic misses that you have often inadvertently used in the past when trying to be empathetic? So just as a reminder, the 6 different ones are sympathy, indicating that shame is warranted, disappointment, judgment or righteous anger, minimizing, comparing, or competing. So the first question, again, is what are 2 types of empathetic misses that are most likely to leave you feeling like the other person doesn't understand what you are going through? So who would like to share that?
I would say minimize. That's a big one for me when trying to bring something up, have a conversation with someone and they minimize it, like, oh, well, or yeah, it's all a mess. I know it, but I don't feel like they're listening. It just happened to work today. In fact, that I feel they kind of just brushed it off.
Okay.
Minimize the whole situation. Yeah.
Yep.
Is this the question around which ones do we lead us to shut down?
This is, yes. Mm-hmm.
So mine was shame and the comparing. And before I read those questions, I filled out the answers to these questions, and literally the words were shut down. Like shut down was one of the ways that I behaved. So
Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
I shut down with my husband when I'm disappointed in him. I shut down. Like it's like I take it off the table. Okay, this isn't up for discussion. So I'll have to think about that with my team.
Well, this is more of a question about you personally. What are 2 types of empathetic misses that you are most likely to leave you feeling like the other person doesn't understand you? So this is someone that's supposed to be empathetic to you, but they're not, because they have a miss. They,
right.
And so what are the 2 things that make you shut down?
Yeah, I think I get disappointed.
Okay.
That he doesn't get it.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and probably the minimalize. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, for instance, conference. You don't need to go to conference. You've already been to every conference. What more could you learn at conference? Like, he just doesn't get it, so I want to just shut down. Like, okay, we have this discussion over and over and over and over and over. I'm going to conference, and guess what? I just booked my ticket to go to the summit. Well, what's a summit? I don't know. I've never been, but I'm going. So it's just like he doesn't share the same vision that I have for growing the team. He's excited that my paycheck grows every month, but I think he just still doesn't get it. So I get disappointed.
Yeah.
Disappointed. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Have you thought about having a brave conversation with him about that?
I've had so many brave conversations. I think once I can, the rubber's going to hit the road when I quit nannying, because that's been my excuse this whole time. So the rubber is meeting the road when I retire to see what I can do with this business in my free time. So there won't be any, I'm taking all excuses off the table.
Gotcha. All right. Well, good. Good, good,
I'm
good.
ready. I'm ready.
All right. Who else would like to share? Well, I'll share mine. Mine were disappointment and comparing, competing. Those are definitely two for me. So I could think of scenarios where some of the other ones came out, but those are the ones that stood out for me.
Mm.
All right. Anybody else want to share? I think Kara might have gone now. Okay, so we'll move on to the next question, which is, what are two empathetic misses that you have often inadvertently used in the past when trying to be empathetic? So I'm just going to be vulnerable and share mine first. Mine would be sympathy, because there's such a fine line there between sympathy, I think, and empathy, and the way that Brene describes it is really good. I like that, but I have found myself many times saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and I've been trying more to be more like, "Oh gosh, I know that's got to be really frustrating," and so it's just those simple tweaks in your verbiage. And then the other one is comparing or competing, which I find is funny, because that's sometimes, but that's one of the things I don't like. But then I find that sometimes I do it, and the reason I do it, it's not competing. It's more like, oh my gosh, well, one time this happened, because I'm uncomfortable with how to react to what they're feeling. I try to make them feel better by saying, well, gosh, this happened to me. And I don't mean for it to be comparing or competing, but I can see how it can be perceived that way.
Interesting.
I think I have the same too. The comparing, competing, and what was the other one you just said? Sympathy. I was actually I have a neighbor around the corner. We have a homeowners association here, and I have a neighbor around the corner, and they're kind of problem neighbors. A lot of people in the neighborhood don't like them, but I don't have a problem with them. And they have been posting on Facebook that the homeowners is attacking them and the neighbors are mean and blah, blah, blah. So I don't get involved. But then he actually private messaged me and said, can you please call the homeowners board and tell them that you support us and the neighbors are being mean? And I don't even want to get involved. I have nothing to do with their whole situation with their dogs and people complaining. And so normally, I don't know what I would have done. Normally, I was really uncomfortable, but I told him, that must feel so frustrating for you. He says, yeah, we're really uncomfortable in our own home with the way the neighbors are treating us. And that, again, came out of this group that I was able to say, wow, that must feel really hurtful and frustrating. I'm so sorry you're going through that. Without ever saying that I'm not going to call the board because I'm not involved with this. But I was able to send him a couple of messages that kind of surprised myself that I responded that way.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Who else would like to share?
I'll go. Mine are minimizing and sympathy. Sorry, I shouldn't have said I will go. FedEx is here and my dog's losing her mind. Anyway, hold on.
I really admire how she pulls all this off between the kids and everything. I admire Carrie so much. Carrie, I'm saying I admire you that you can concentrate despite everything.
I am one hot mess, man. I literally have not brushed my hair. I looked in the mirror at 2:28 and thought, Mountain Time, oh my goodness, these poor people. So, So like I said this morning, an empathic miss was just happened this morning with my my team member, where I minimized what was going on in her mind, which it was a major SFD, and she actually is in Brave Leaders right now. So she's been more receptive when I minimize or whatever it is I do wrong, and or when I kind of say, hey, hold on, did this happen? She accepts all trauma as though it's actually happened. And a lot of it is just, she's perceiving, making up a story that doesn't exist. And so, but I have to console her with the trauma she's already in. So there's that. But so a few weeks ago, my step grandpa suddenly passed away, and he was old, but he shouldn't have died. It was kind of a bad situation kind of gone wrong. And my stepmom and I have been hit or miss in our relationship. We're good, but it's pretty surface level since I had kids, because we don't agree on my parenting. But that's okay. So anyway, so I know this is a terrible time. She's very close. They live with my parents. And my response, similar to what Irene said, to everything that was going on, when I usually try to fix it, or I try to silver line it, or I try to, I'm so sorry, was truly empathetic. And I was so oh my goodness, okay, there's a fighting chance that I can actually integrate this. So, I think that was good. And a part of it was saying this sucks. I have lost people close to me. I have not lost my own parents. So it was really kind of hard to get myself in that, which I was close to him as well. I mean, it was sad for me, but he's not my dad. So, like it is for her. And it was I don't know. It was just a really difficult situation. And it apparently, it really was a strengthening point for our relationship, because for once it wasn't it's in my prayers and blah, 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 blah. It was okay, boots on the ground. This is terrible. I can't even imagine fully what you're going through. This is sad, just acknowledging it as it is, not trying to fix it, and going from there. So there's a little growth, but then today I messed it up. So we'll keep trying.
No, you didn't mess it up. You're practicing the skill.
You can swing back around.
Exactly. I should circle back. Good point.
Yeah,
I will, if nothing else, for practice.
And then when you circle back, it's a great opportunity for you to have that brave conversation.
Yeah. Oh, Julie. Yes, it is. And that was my big thing. That was my brave act, was tough conversations, which I've started being a lot more clear, black and white. Nope. I really do think you're on the wrong track. And here's why. I have some people who failed to use the system constantly, always got to be distracting themselves. So I've just been loving and very firm, but there is such a trigger with this person, because she can fly off the handle like my mom, that I'm always just oh, I don't want to do it, but I need to. Hey, what are you doing?
But you know what the other thing is, Carrie? You might take it as an opportunity to ask her a lot of questions. So I've noticed that when there's a possibility of something happening, you get really worked up. Can you tell me where that comes from? Is it something that happened when you were a child, or is it something that is that how your family behaved when you were growing up? Or I'm trying, because you could say I'm working on being empathetic, and I would like to understand where you're coming from.
That's
that could be
really
another way that you could approach that conversation.
I'm writing it down verbatim.
But
That's
that
really
might
good.
be a way for you to understand, because you say I'm working on this, and because she's part of the Brave Leaders, you could be I want to be able to be better leader.
Right. Yeah. You did
And
that.
then
Love it.
And then, you don't have to have that brave conversation in that conversation. You can wait, and maybe through that conversation, that will help her reflect and be oh, wow, I didn't realize I was doing that. Or, maybe I need to change my behavior.
Ooh.
So
There
who
we
else would like to share? Anybody? No? Okay. All right. Well, I think that was the last thing. Let me just make sure I did not miss anything. Nope. All right. Well, this was awesome. We just kind of pulled it together at the last minute, and it worked out. So I'm glad that it
Going to
did.
be on this number. Who's going to facilitate for June?
We can definitely use my number. I'm fine with that if we want to just keep it, and I'll just remind everybody what it is. But if you could put it on your calendar, because I think we agreed on the
I have
third
all my
Wednesday.
Zoom numbers right here. on
So
the side.
June would be
20th?
the date. Is that right? The 20th.
Right, the 20th is the third Wednesday.
Okay. So who would like to volunteer? Carrie's already gone. I've gone. So, and I know Cindy, you said you're going to do July.
Mhm.
So we got Irene or Kara or Jennifer. She's obviously not here. And then Nyla, I don't know if she'll be joining regularly.
We
or
could volunteer Jennifer as a nice little gift for this recording. Like, hey, watch the recording. At the end, you'll find out who's facilitating next.
not.
I
Yeah.
don't mind doing it. I can do it.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Irene. All right, ladies. Well, thank you.
Ask one big question. Okay, so the Team G, what's going on with that? Because I just looked it up last night. So who's using that and what benefits?
What'd you say?
I
Who's
have
using
it.
what?
Team Z.
Z-Y.
Let me turn off the recording and then we can talk about it. Hang on.
Thank you.